Reach where others can't with the new Milwaukee M18 magnetic boom light. This is the Milwaukee M18 magnetic extendable boom light. It's on their M18 platform or their 18-volt platform, and it's also the model number 2129-20. -20 is a bare tool, so it would not come with this battery. So if I take the battery off, going to sit there just fine, but obviously it's not going to work. It's not going to actually produce light. So let's talk about a couple of the features and then jump under a vehicle and see where this thing really shines. Pun intended there with the shining part. Anyway, one of the really cool things about this light that they thought of, you can see, and in fact, let me give you an idea of how long this thing is. That's about 29 inches right now with it kind of folded in half. But each one of these sections is about 14 inches. So you can see if you extend that all the way out, it's going to be rather lengthy. So let's say you had it extended all the way out and you get out from under a car or a truck or whatever it may be, and you're going to lunch and you forgot to turn it off. Well, there's a power button here at the light source. There's also a power button here at the base. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that's probably from user feedback. I'm assuming during the R&D phase. That's purely my speculation, by the way. But I think it is a great feature. And let me turn this light around here. So if I turn this light on, so we're getting all the light. And again, it's extended way out. We crawl up under from under the vehicle. And again, we're going to get parts or we're leaving for lunch, whatever. So we forgot and we don't want to climb back under there. We just push that button there. And by the way, there's 3 modes on this light. So there's 3 modes on this light. Turn it on. So low, high, medium, back to low. And if I turn this off and turn it back on, it's going to stay in that low range. So I don't have to worry about put the setting back where we wanted it. So if we want to leave it on high and we, again, turn it off, no matter where we turn it back on, it's going to stay on high. So I thought that was pretty cool too. So it's going to remember your setting at wherever you set it at. Let's talk about performance and runtime right out of the gate. A maximum of 2,500 lumens from this, so very bright light. That's going to be in high, and in medium, you're going to get 1,500 lumens, and in low, 1,000 lumens. Now, talk about runtime on a 5.0 battery, XC5.0 battery, is going to get you 4.5 hours of runtime on high, and 8 hours on medium, and 12 hours on low. So you're talking about an absolute full day on low out of a 5.0 battery. Now you step up to an 8.0 battery, an XC8.0 battery, and now you're talking about 19 hours of runtime on low and 13 hours on medium and 7 hours of runtime on high. So 8.0 battery is probably going to last you all day on high, depending on what you're working on and how long you work. But a 7-hour work day with the light, I would assume that's a full work day. Anyway, regardless, there's your run times and performance. This is all TRUEVIEW lighting, by the way. So you're getting a light output that's not going to change the colors of what your eyes are typically used to. I can get into details on that, but basically you're seeing the true colors by the light that it broadcasts. It's not a blue light. It's not a overly dim orangey light or yellow light. It's what they call their TRUEVIEW light. We can talk about light indexes and everything else, but we won't get into that right now. We've done that in other videos. You get 3 different joint adjustments, and at each one of these joints, not only does it obviously pivot, but you can also rotate at each joint as well. So you get a lot of combinations on how you can set up your light and be able to broadcast that light wherever you want to. Now here's the really cool thing. I keep saying really cool. Anyway, this is a magnetic base. So if I throw this over, well, you see just a black base here. Where are the protective boots on it? And there's a reason that's on there, because this magnet here produces about 200 plus pounds of holding force. Now, that really depends on what type of steel you're putting it on. If you're putting it on a piece of, 16 gauge steel, like on this back wall here, it's probably not going to have that type of holding power. But some 1/4 inch thick plate on a semi-truck frame, it's going to have every bit of that. So if it's sucked down to 200 pounds of force and you're trying to get that thing off, you could probably jerk on that thing all day long and it's not going to budge. Now, the cool thing is, built into it is this lever right here, as you can see. So when I lift up on it, not only is the handle lifting up, but you see it's actually lifting off the tool. So basically they're utilizing leverage to turn that 200 pounds of force into about 30, 35 pounds of release force to pull that off. Again, it depends on what surface it's on, but you just lift that up and you can see it kind of sticks that out and removes that base from the ferrous metal that it's on. Also, when you're working around vehicles, trucks, things like that, especially frames, you're going to run into a lot of rust and corrosion. That's typically going to stick to those magnets. And if you want to throw this on your toolbox, it's going to scratch it all up. And that's where this protective boot comes in. And you slide it on there, and then it actually goes into those screw holes. And now you can throw that on your toolbox, and it's kind of a non-marring surface. Now that's not going to scratch your toolbox. You don't have to worry about that $5 bazillion snap-on box you've got. Now this is also IP54 water and dust resistant, as well as chemical resistant, and it's impact resistant from a 6.5 foot fall. We haven't exactly thrown it off our ladder yet, but that'll probably happen naturally before long. Probably more like falling off a truck or car because we don't have it stuck on something, or we try to stick it on an aluminum truck. Price on this guy is $279, but that's for the bare tool, and you're going to get a 5-year warranty with this as well. Now let's get this over there and see what we think about it. Hey, but before we do actually test this thing, let's actually get a weight on it, because it's not a light tool. You know, we have the M12 kind of version of this, but this is a lot bigger beast. So you're looking at 10 pounds, 3 ounces with a 5.0 battery on there. You're never going to have it without a battery, so why weigh it? I mean, we can do it, but it's, yeah, there we go. So 8 pounds, 9.5 ounces, 8 pounds, 9 ounces, but really that's a 10+ pound tool with a battery on it. So I threw this thing on the lift really quick. I just wanted to give you an idea. So fully extended from the pivot point, I'm not even going to measure to the battery, out to the end of the handle, 42 inches is what type of reach you've got from this. And you see the holding power, that's a pivot point there. So I can actually pivot this. And so this full length of this tool and that pivot point is still holding that light where it should be. And again, I can rotate this where I need it. Turn it on and see our dirty wheels. And again, just really be able to pivot this wherever we need it. So you can see here we're mounted on one post under the vehicle on the passenger side, and I can pivot this all the way over. And now I'm past the midpoint, I'm past the drive shaft of the vehicle, and I can shine plenty of light over here on the opposite side of the car. So I'm not needing to move this thing near as much as maybe a smaller light I would have to do. So I can literally just move it here, work here under the vehicle where I need it. I can also fold it up or collapse it, get it closer over here, work on this side of the vehicle. So it gives me a lot more range of use out of one light. And that's in low, that's medium, that's low, that's high, and that's medium. So again, plenty of light to shine and light up the whole undercarriage of the vehicle. And when I'm done, again, I can turn this off, and I can do it right here at the base, or I can do it at the end of the light. And when I'm ready to remove this, you can see, you're not knocking that off, but if I want to pull it off, pull it down, and release that. Again, go back up, and plenty of power to hold this and pull the release lever and pull it off. So we already mentioned pricing at $279 for the bare tool and a 5-year warranty. Now, let's talk about the negatives on this. Number one, it's not a light. That's, again, pun intended there. But yeah, it's not something you're going to carry around in your pocket. As we mentioned, it's about 10 pounds, a little over 10 pounds with the battery. However, where it's used is also needs to come into play, because one of the other drawbacks is not only is it heavy, it's pretty bulky. You know, to even fold this thing down, even if you take the battery off and fold it around that way, it's more compact. Throwing it in a tool drawer is going to take up a lot of room. Yes, you could stick it on the side of your toolbox if you have room, or anything metal, you could do that. However, what I really think overcomes all this is I think the majority of the time, at least mechanically, this is going to be used in and around a lift or in and around an industrial truck environment. So my thoughts on this, I'd probably stick this thing. In fact, I probably will stick this thing on the lift and leave it there. And it's more of a shop tool rather than someone's personal tool. So that's my thoughts on it. Again, if you're lacking space to be able to store this, just know you're not going to throw it in one of your thin toolbox drawers. You're going to have to find a place to put it. But again, I think for what it is, I think it serves its purpose. Just understand it's heavy and you're going to have to find a place for it. So that's our thoughts on it. Hey, keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even TikTok. And if you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And by all means, if you hated our video, well, give us a thumbs down. Would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day and keep smiling.